Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Motivation to use only. Mentally feel like Kobe. I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me. I don't care if you push it 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili. From young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready. Who ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the One-on-One Sports Show here on the BMU Network. I'm Mr. Bennett, joined by my partner, Brother Shawnee. Good to be with you guys here on this Wednesday. Hopefully we'll have Brother Dante and Brother Trey. Hopefully they'll be coming up soon. But good to be with you guys again on this second weekend in November. And certainly as we get into the thick of it as far as the college football season and, so the NFL playoffs, pictures are starting to shape up. A lot of conference games coming up, a lot of rivalries. So a lot of things going on in the world of sports. But before I go on, first of all, Brother Shawnee, how are you doing, sir?
Fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Look like I thought I had issues with my headphones, but no, everything is good over here. Finished work. They had me there longer. Went to the gym. Now I'm doing the show, so it's all good.
What do you do at gym? You into the weights? You doing cardio? What are you doing, man?
Yeah, I mainly just weight lift.
I hear you, man. Today was squat day, man. So
that was what's the day? Wednesday. That was Monday for me.
Yeah, so I did I got my 275 in low bar squat for 5. I think I probably could have got a couple more out, but I didn't want to risk it. I've been working on my squat over time. So the goal is to get hopefully by early 25. Put 3 plates on there, 315 for 5. So that's my goal at this point. But definitely I'm going to feel this tomorrow. I did it this morning, so I'm already starting to feel the fatigue. Tomorrow, I'm going to that's the day after is always worse than the day of. I can deal with this, the pain, the soreness, everything from from it. But the day after, man, it's like I'm a mummy, man. I can barely get out of bed.
Now, I had to. I recently got me some knee wrap, not the knee wraps that you gotta, wind
the sleeves. You got the sleeves. The things.
Yeah.
I've been on them for a minute, well over a year now. Yeah, I got to the point. It's like, if I'm gonna be doing this on a regular, definitely added a few more because I used to just go like right into it, like right into my work set. So I got to warm up a little bit more. I got to build it up. I got to put the knee sleeves on and whatnot. So yeah. And then now I be getting that CBD cream, putting that on my knees and all that kind of stuff now. So yeah, so I'm not as young as I used to be, but I'm just trying to stay ahead of the game. But yeah, I typically don't go for like 1 max lifts or whatnot. So usually I got to do at least 8 before I kind of put a little more weight on the bar. And then the goal is to put like 5 pounds on and 5 pounds and just keep building up from there. So like I said, right now I do like a high bar squat. I do about 245 for 5. And then the low bar squat, I'm up to 275. I can do a little more weight with that. So trying to, like I said, 350. If I could do 315 at age 55, I was like, you know what? I don't have to. I'm not trying to compete in any meets. I'm not trying to break any records. I'm just trying to, But if I can do, put 3 plates back on the bar, then I'm good. So I'm definitely happy about that. But yeah, we want to thank everybody for coming in. Brother Smitty's Corner, again, thank you for thank you for coming in. So yes, a very key win by my Steelers, and certainly we'll get into some of the matchups coming up this week. But yeah, we want to kick this off. Obviously talking a little college sports. So again, I don't know if BMU's in the back, but I know that I put on the PowerPoint, I put the current football playoff picture up. So if we can get that, we can share that and talk about that a little bit. But obviously, again, more upsets. I honestly think that, and I don't know what you think about this, Shawnee. Is this actually hurting college football? Meaning is that do these teams think that they have to win out? Because it used to be, back in the day, one loss, it was like your season was over. So do you think that these teams are going at it with the same level of urgency? especially the legacy teams like the Georgias and Alabamas. About, hey, we get 1 or 2 losses. Hey, we still gonna be there at the end. I'm getting the feeling that people are almost dependent upon the fact there's 12 teams, and God forbid if they ever increase it. So it's like, do you think that there's that sort of do or die? Like this game is the most important game. I don't know if these players even buy into it or the coaches or what, but what do you think about just the overall impact? Is this 12-team playoff? Because I can't remember too many years we've had this many upsets and by teams that are like, have no business being beat by these other teams. So what do you think? Is this good for college football, or are we is it just a competition? The fact that more teams can get into it.
Oh, I think it's definitely, if you're talking about college football as a whole, it's definitely good for the game of college football because, college football, if you're looking at them, you're looking at the money. And now you involving, think about, okay, remember the higher seed teams, I think for the first 2 rounds, their school will be hosting a playoff game. So thinking about a team like Indiana, who they football, that's a basketball school, and their football team hasn't been in the picture, I don't know, in what, almost half a century.
Right.
And so schools like, and also got I was about to go back to that graphic, but I was about to point out, you just got to remember that the AP rankings and the college seeding, they do not 100% match. But if you look at the playoff, well, if they had the seeding, I think it's definitely good for the game. As far as do teams take it serious, I think they do. I think they do. Now, it definitely gives them a buffer of playing each other. Like you in the BCS era and in the old school, even though it's after the BCS era, the former college football playoff format with just the 4 teams, you would have never seen a Georgia versus Texas play unless they happen to play. But I don't know if the SEC is still doing the West-East divisions within the conference, because Georgia and Alabama, they rarely played in the regular season. They only typically met in the conference title game. I think last year they did play in the regular season, but they don't do it that much. And also, I think you'll see them playing, but it's really the fact that 1 versus 5, the seeding. You don't see as far as whatever school is ranked in the top 5, they don't play each other. Now, maybe Georgia and Alabama, because they are in the same conference, they will play. But definitely if they are in the top 5, whatever team that is, they do not play each other. And I remember we saw that early in the year, I think, when it was Georgia versus Alabama, and then also, I think Georgia was out the top 5 when they played against Texas. But regardless, you just didn't see that. So now, because, you can potentially get in with 2 losses. Now, you're kind of playing with 5 if you're getting in for 3, but a school like Georgia, who is currently outside the playoff right now, they are ranked number 12, but they're the first team out of the playoff seeding currently. Now, it's still 3 more weeks in the regular season. I guarantee you at least 2 to 3 teams before the season's over with, they're going to lose a game. That's just how this season been going. So I think Georgia will win versus Tennessee, because I think Tennessee's going to be missing their starter quarterback. So if Georgia wins versus Tennessee, you would think that they just basically flip-flop them. Yeah, but I think as you can see right now in the rankings, Tennessee is already above Ole Miss and Alabama. Right. Both of those schools, Georgia don't have the head-to-head. They lost the head-to-head with. So you could still get in the playoffs with 2 losses. 3, you cutting it close. But I think the only teams that could potentially get in with 3 losses are SEC squad. I don't even think a Big Ten team can get in with 3 losses. So,
Right. But you see here the disparity between the AP and the college football rankings here in terms of tumble. Georgia took a 9-point tumble in the rankings, or certainly on the college football poll, but only and same on the Georgia side. But Miami, they only jipped, I think, 5, whereas on the AP 25 they jipped 8. So it just seems like, I don't know what. It's hard to know what criteria that they're going off of when it comes to who they're keeping in, and I just got a feeling that they're going to try as best as possible. Someone's going to try to make a case to keep certainly Alabama, because they're barely hanging on by a thread, and then Georgia's barely hanging on by a thread also. But someone certainly could have made a case that they should have dropped out of the 12. But you can see in both polls they're trying everything they can to keep them in there. So I think. At the end of the day, I think some of this is still going to shake out. I think Indiana is certainly I think clearly the story of of college football this year, undefeated so far. But I think when all's said and done, I think you're still going to boil down to either those SEC or probably possible Big Ten teams. It would shock me that by the time we get to the Final Four, that you're going to have these surprises, BYU, Indiana, Penn State. I just don't think they're going to have the staying power to be in there, even though if you take Alabama and Georgia out of it, then you can say they may have a shot. But I just think, when you have those kind of heavyweight teams, I think that's what I'm saying. The attitude, I think, of some of these teams are kind of like, yeah, well, we got this. It's like, let's just get into the dance. We'll work out everything later on. But I think this having more opportunities to get in, you can play more with your lineup. You can, switch out starters and positions. You can try things out. I think for some of these teams, especially some of these legacy teams, I still think they're working some things out. Whereas in prior years, you almost had to be like perfect going into into a season. And it's not just the losses, it's who they're losing to, teams that are unranked that they're losing to. So Coach, what do you think about that? Do you think this? I certainly agree that the new format, the 12-team playoff, I think is good for the schools and certainly interest from these colleges. But as far as the teams, do you think that they kind of taking their foot off the gas a little bit, thinking that we don't have to be perfect, we don't have to go undefeated to get into this thing? And that is one of the reasons why you're seeing so many of these upsets that you're seeing by unranked teams beating these ranked teams, which was like a rare occurrence that's in the habit. But now it's like it's happening every week.
Welcome to the transfer portal. This is it. The transfer portal is the great equalizer in college sports, because players transfer at will now, and I like it. Like Shawnee said, I think it's good for the overall competitiveness of the game, because you can't just you can't take time off now. Everybody has to play through the season. Mm-hmm. That's the good thing about it now today, because 12 teams, Alabama 2 losses, Georgia 2 losses. They lose any more games, you can count them out. But that gives another team opportunity,
right,
to slide in. And again, football is different when the weather changes. So an injury here or there, who knows? That can be everybody's season changing. But I like it. I think it's good. You're going to see. I don't think we'll see those top, like Alabama, Georgia, consistently at the top for the next 5 years, because players are taking advantage of the transfer portal.
Right.
And whoever's going to pay me that bag, that's where my kid is going. I don't know about y'all, but I'm sure they offer him a nice NIL deal. You could be like, this is where we're going, and we'll be at BYU or, so.
I think one other thing that we are seeing, I mean, Oregon, they seem to be maintaining their number 1 ranking for a while. In prior years, I wouldn't count on them being number 1. It's almost like, you had one year you had Notre Dame went undefeated, then you had Oregon go undefeated, but when they went against one of those powerhouses, either the Big Ten or the SEC, they would always fold under that pressure, and it was always a blowout. But do you think this year those top teams, certainly a team like Oregon, who I wouldn't have necessarily bought into a few years ago, maybe they may have a legit shot at this thing now? Or do you think that it'll still boil down to, again, those noted teams before? Does Oregon has a shot to win this whole thing?
I think they do. I think they do. Now they played Boise State earlier this year, and they barely beat them by a field goal. So they play the teams. You can only play who's on your schedule. They played a decent schedule. But it'll be a different story once the playoffs is, because you'll be playing teams that. It's one thing to play teams in your conference, even though this is Oregon's first time in the Big Ten. So they all of these opponents are potentially like new opponents. But normally, if they was in the same conference, you got a familiarity with these opponents. You could kind of get a better. It's on the level of NFL division play, but they only see each other once a year. While NFL they play each other twice, so you definitely can get a better grasp on an opponent then. But when you get in the playoffs and when you got, like almost like March Madness in basketball, when a team play like Creighton, and you like say like UCLA, even though Creighton has a solid basketball program, they could potentially beat you just because they may present a whole different challenge that you're just not familiar with.
Right.
And with these playoffs, they a team may throw a curveball at Oregon, like I said, they already played Boise, but think about it. So going back to the rankings, because I'm looking at it now, it's almost like, okay, we always knew there was the AP poll. It was really the AP poll and the coaches poll.
Right.
And then now it's basically, we just saw the AP poll and the college football playoff poll. But now it's the AP poll, the CFP poll, and the seedings. And the seedings, you got to keep in mind, it can kind of get you screwed up because the seeding in that AP and the playoff poll, number 1 was Oregon, number 2 was Ohio State, and Texas was number 3. Well, if you look at the seeding, because Oregon is number 1 currently in the Big Ten, they are number 1 seeding. Ohio State is the number 5 seed. Texas is number 2 seed. So Texas is actually get a first round bye. And it goes all the way down like that. Boise State is currently ranked number 13. And Georgia is 12. Georgia is currently out. Boise State is actually number 12 in the seedings. So you got to go, and BYU, I think they're number 9 in the seedings, but because of they are number 1 currently in the Big 12, they're ranked number 3 in the seeding. So and Miami, who just lost a big one to the Georgia Tech, they are, I forgot where they ranked in the playoff rankings, but they're currently number 4 in the seedings, even off a loss because they're number 1 in the ACC. So you got to remember, if you currently leading your conference currently, you're going to get a higher seeding. Right. So all of that, we were looking at the rankings, because when the seedings first came out the first time, it was literally the top 12 teams was in there. Right. It's almost the same, but Georgia is first one out, so they're not in there. But it added a new wrinkle, and then you got to remember, you like, damn, what the hell? BYU was ranked number 3 in the seeding, and they ranked number 9 in the rankings because they're leading the Big 12.
Right. But do you think that if they really want to make this work, do they need to uncouple I guess their divisional status versus just overall? I mean, if you're gonna have a ranking, if you're gonna say your top 12, or are we still gonna go by again the old system of having the winner of your conference, they get a bid even though a team may be ranked higher than them in the poll, but because they won, they get like a Boise State or whatever, they're gonna get a better seeding. So it seems like they kind of contradict each other a little bit.
Because them better teams gonna ultimately meet up with them anyway. And this is college football. Big Ten and SEC, they already get so much favoritism already. Yeah. So you got to keep the other, because remember, it was Power 5. Now with the way these teams done moved all over, they call them Power. They screwed it all up. So it's just like you still have to. The Big 12 is still one of the power conference, them in the ACC. So you still have to give the winner of that. You know, they already basically like college basketball. The only way they can get in is via the winning their conference. Because we were just saying an SEC school can possibly get in with 3 losses.
Right.
Ain't nobody in the ACC or Big 12 has that possibility.
Right. But now, what about the independents, though?
Oh, yeah, that's
so. If you're going to tie to, like Army has slipped in, at least on the AP poll. Army is 16th in the AP and 18th in the college college playoff football rankings.
Yeah, but
so they can't really go anywhere. So
they can't, because they don't stack up with the Power 5 so-called, the Alabamas, LSU. You can take UK and they'll probably run amok on Army. It's just, it just is what it is. But again, I think it's good, and just as long as they're going to iron it out over the next couple of years, it's going to continue to come down to who's winning. I could possibly see Colorado, if they win out, be close. They could be close.
They will. If Colorado win out, they will be in, because that means they won the Big 12.
Yeah,
right. So
I see those conferences, but the independent, smaller independents, they wouldn't have a chance. But they would go to a nice bowl, and then you would see the mismatch in the bowl, whoever they play. Exactly. You're like, damn, okay, y'all was undefeated, but y'all playing Ole Miss, and
you may get a Georgia versus TCU game again.
Right. Now, I don't even know if a team like Army could they even join a conference. I don't even know if that's a lot. I mean, like those military football teams. They got to kind of stay independent just for
Well, they could do what Notre Dame did. That's why Notre Dame is independent, but they are currently independent because Notre Dame's schedule. Now, if you're going to be independent, you better start playing these dudes all over the country and ranking and everything.
But the problem with the military teams, you ain't gonna run across too many 306'6", 350, because they do have a weight limit.
I mean, and again, it's been, you got to go back to the 30s and 40s when they were like winning national championships and all that kind of stuff. New Rockney and Lombardi and those guys, when they were relevant on the on the scene. They said there've been players that kind of broke out every once in a while, but but as a football powerhouse, that'd be that would certainly be tough. But but certainly Colorado, certainly again they have an outside shot. They like we were saying, they still have to win out, which I think, again, as we talked about last week, looking at their schedule, certainly very doable. We'll have to see how they would make out in their tournament, and would they be able to beat certainly the higher ranked teams, the BYU's or whatever. Will they be able to compete with? That's going to be the test.
Now, one thing about Colorado, real quick. Okay, Colorado is currently ranked in the college playoff poll. They rank number 17.
17th in the college playoff.
If they go on to win the Big 12, they'll be one of the top 4 seeds. So they will get a first round bye. So this seed is.
You don't think, I don't know. You think there's something wrong? There's something wrong with that still.
You have to, because they in a Power 4 conference. So you have to, because you already know if Colorado lose, they out. They ain't
right.
So you have to honor a power conference. That's why they gave them this at-large bid if they win the conference game, because they're still technically one, of the bigger conferences, but all the powerhouses just went to the same, if everybody left SEC and went to the Big 12, then you would kind of see, they can't really control that. All they did was like, look, man, Pac-12 was disintegrating before our very eyes. Let's go join another power conference in the Big 12. You already know you're behind the 8 ball. We basically have to win our conference to get into this top 12. So, hey, if they do it, they deserve it.
Right. Well, speaking of prime, I mean, obviously, I guess moving on to the next block here, what I don't know where this is coming from, but it certainly is sucking all the air out of the room. I mean, obviously, with the Cowboys essentially in tank mode at this point. And they're gonna lose again certainly this next weekend. So the rumorville is that Dallas is going to try to tank the season, get the number 1, draft Shedeur, and have Deion actually be the next coach of the Dallas Cowboys. So, Shawnee, I know you're sort of in Dallas Central. So, what's been the buzz there? Is this just ESPN or whoever or Fox Sports or whoever it is? I've seen a variety of commentaries on this, and it certainly has gotten some legs. Deion, obviously, he's denied all this kind of stuff, but these days you can't necessarily trust what's coming out of anyone's mouth, even Prime's. He tried to keep it as 100 as it gets. But what has been the buzz in the DFW area concerning that? Is there a buzz? Is there a ground score? What's on the sports radio stations? Are they saying, yeah, we want Prime, tank the season so we can get Shedeur and Prime? Is this a thing, or is just a media fabrication that is just folks are just looking for clickbait here?
Oh, it's definitely damn sure a media fabrication. I think as far as ESPN, they really started talking about it when Stephen A. brought it up on First Take. He brought up the whole, Prime can go to Dallas with Shedeur. I'm like, if you just think, common sense will tell you, they just played Dak Prescott a guaranteed $240 million. That contract don't even kick in till next season. So they made that bid. So why are you gonna play? You can't say he sucks like that. Shedeur Sanders is still he's a project, I guess. There's no guarantee that he will be successful in the NFL. Mm-hmm. But you already gave this dude a huge contract, $240 guaranteed. So right. They're not drafting him. I don't know how many times in the past Prime said that he does not want to coach in the NFL. He doesn't. He's not interested in that environment as far as the players and stuff like that. You remember before he came on the college scene in Jackson State, he was teaching like a prep high school type here in the DFW area, and his thing was teaching kids. That's his biggest thing. And I think college football is his highest level that he wants to go. Mm-hmm. He's a coach. If you follow him at Colorado, hell, even at Jackson State, he's into everything. Prime has his hands on everything. You may think he's overworked. From the coaches to the field stuff to media to his hands on everything. You're not gonna be able to do that in Dallas. Yeah. You're barely gonna be able to have your hands on everything as a head coach with the people on the sideline.
Right.
So it's like it's gonna be a huge barricade sideline. Then forget the front office. He's not even gonna touch that. And so he just don't want to deal with that. So he's said that.
So what do you think will be the biggest blocker for him? Would it be the front office working with Jerry, or working with the players?
I think he would get along with Jerry, but the control that he won't be able to have. It's like
he wouldn't get along then.
Yeah,
Jerry Jones is giving up nothing. He's gonna fight it to the end.
Yeah,
but but we gotta understand. But you gotta be honest here. I think for the past 30 years, I don't think it's really been about winning with Jerry. It's all been about marketing. He wants to build the brand and the value of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well,
since 1996, they've had very few playoff appearances.
The Cowboys brand builds itself.
But that's what I'm saying. But he wants to build it more. They're the most expensive franchise in sports, and they haven't won anything in 30 years.
I say this about Jerry. Yes, the franchise has been profitable over the years he's been owner, but I think he does want to win because if you look at the past, excluding this season, they've done the best they could. They put on a good roster. If you remember going back the past 4 seasons, before the season started, you look at the Cowboys roster, you say this should be a contending team. So they do their thing to put in roster. It's just they always missing a piece because they refuse to go from their current formula. They only want to draft and build their own. They only want to pay their own. And when you have a spot that needs to be filled, they rather take a chance on drafting and get a free agent. They don't like free agency. That formula has really cost them, especially the last 10 years or so. But he tries his best to put a good team out there. He just can't get on his own way. They're stubborn in the way they're going about it. You're saying we need to do something different, but they won't. They keep doing the same thing and literally having the same exact results because they're so conscious about free agency and spending money on players like that. But
That's true. The only
does
top free agents I ever recall them getting was Terrell Owens and Amari Cooper. Like as
And
far as like big time.
in the
And
past.
Deion Sanders.
Yeah, exactly. Deion, Charles Haley, he was willing to open his wallet.
I'm saying
then.
post the
Exactly.
Super Bowl that Super Bowl era, because again at that time it was truly they needed a piece, whether it be Prime, because again they got to the NFC Championship game the year before, and then they added those guys on top.
He got
later on,
burned over the years. Remember when he traded for Roy Williams? He traded for it was another receiver, multiple draft picks. Then he paid.
Well, like I said, I know T.O. was there for a minute, and then like I said, the latest one I remember was Amari Cooper in terms of guys he got, and it actually worked for that first year or so. It was like it was a good investment, but it didn't last.
Look at Dallas as of the last year and a half or 2 years. They've let some of the best linemen in the league go. They've let the linemen go. The ones that really actually make things happen for Dallas is the line.
Mm-hmm.
They let those guys walk. You let Pollard go, who was a perennial good back, catch and run back. You bring back old ass Ezekiel. They should have drafted a running back. They definitely should have drafted. They didn't do that. And then you have players sit out most of the preseason. This is what you get. I'm not surprised by their record.
Mm.
And
when was the last time Dallas was about? Because I know for a long time they were always like 8-8, 9-7 kind of for a long time. I can't remember the last time because they can wind up going. It wouldn't surprise me if they went 2-15, or like if they're going to take the season.
Well,
2-15
before this season they won 12 games, 3 straight seasons.
Yeah,
correct. And before then, when they had Romo, it was like 8-8. When they had Garrett as the coach or whatnot, it was always parity. But I don't recall them being bad, in the position to draft number one. I never recall them tanking the season.
When they had a top 4 pick, that's how they got Ezekiel Elliott, because 2014 they had that good. I think 2014 is probably their best team, but that's the whole Dez Bryant, did he catch it or not? That was a hell of a team. It just took a play and a controversial call for them to knock them out. But that team, I think, could have potentially won a Super Bowl. It was that team and the 13-3 team that got upset by the Giants when Tony Romo was quarterback. Those 2 teams right there, I think, was the Cowboys' best chance of winning the title. But they had an upset. Something happened. 2015, Romo got hurt. That's when they finished poor. I think they only won 4 games. That's what
2015. Yeah. Right. I'm looking out 4-12.
That's when they got Zeke. The next offseason, that's when they got Zeke, and then they had the 2016 team when they won 11 straight games, and again an incredible throw by Aaron Rodgers to beat Dak Prescott and crew in that playoff game. So they had their chances, and They got a black cat running around. I mean, you can pretty much, some going to go wrong and some will go wrong. But going back to the Prime thing, he is here locally. I'm pretty sure, because it's been a national topic, they talk about it, but we don't expect nobody to go get Prime. Now,
what's the fan buzz? Are the fans saying, is that something they would want, or?
We don't expect it. If he decides to come here, because we heard he does not want to be in the NFL as a coach.
Right.
If something must have happened. If I put it like this, if Prime agrees to become the Dallas Cowboys head coach, you're going to see a complete change in what we are accustomed to seeing. Something was agreed upon behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a big. It's not going to be like when McCarthy or Garrett, something behind the scenes is going to have to change for him to want to come here, because he does not want to do it.
Yeah.
But the whole Shedeur, no. I mean, like I said, they already paid Dak all that money. Yeah. He's not coming here.
So what would you think would be their top? Let's say they end out 4-12, 5-12, or 4-13. What do you think is their top need? Is the O-line? Or what do you think?
Receivers, running back, then O-line.
Yeah.
You just signed CeeDee Lamb.
The top need would be a running back, but then in today's time
that's hard. Yeah, hard to draft the first round. Yeah,
even though they did that with Zeke, and it worked out for him the first 3 years or so until Zeke re-signed.
Right.
If there's another, and you got to really go through the draft lineup as far as line, they probably would get a lineman first, but then round 2, because they probably have a high pick in round 2. I would believe that is when they're going to pick a running back.
Right. So what's the prospects that who's that guy you keep talking about? Boise.
He's gonna be tempting, but he's a
not a first round tempting.
Hell yeah! I mean, if there's a team that needs him, it'll be the Cowboys. You basically you're gonna have to fight the urges not to draft him. His talent is first round, but if you go back to what we know about the NFL running backs, you like, damn, you talented, but I already know I can't use this first round pick on it, because knowing that what we know about the position in that league, it's going to devalue.
Right.
It's going to devalue. So you're like, you're going to have to fight urges. You see, in the past, Jerry would have signed him or drafted him, but Stephen Jones is going to be that anchor, like, no, we can't do it. No, we can't do it. No, we can't do it. So you got to fight the urges not to draft.
The one player that could solve a lot of the problems, Travis Hunter can be the game changer for Dallas. He could be that guy. CD, yes, he's signed. He's a top receiver. However, they need somebody on the other side, because you're seeing how teams can overload on CD Lamb. He can get 8-yard catches and stuff. That's okay. Anybody can do that. But they need somebody else to sort of allow CD to do his thing, But yeah, get a receiver first round, then you can get a lineman, and then you can get a running back.
But you just said Travis Hunter, so you want Travis Hunter to play receiver?
He would go in as a receiver,
or
defensive back. But then you still have the versatility of him, because Diggs, he hasn't played up to his usual status since he coming off that injury. But you get somebody like Travis Hunter, especially on the offense, he's a great equalizer, because he has the skill set, and then you can play him a little bit on defense, a little bit early in his career.
Right.
But I think, receiver, lineman, running back, they have to draft those guys. Make a trade. But see, he doesn't make trades for top players. He's like, we're going with our own.
Because
draft.
they value draft picks. Yeah, because you don't participate in free agency, so you draft your capital.
But let's talk about Travis a little bit. So, I mean, Prime might have been like one of the last players that would play both sides. But again, he only had, and correct me if I'm wrong, Shawnee, when he was with Dallas, they brought him in on certain plays or whatnot. Short plays, whatnot, but he wasn't an every down receiver. So with Travis, you think that his load is going to be mostly as a receiver or defensive back, and even on when he does play on the opposite side, how many reps do you think he's going to get at that other position?
I gotta really look at like the advanced stats, because I'm trying to think of what side of the ball he plays better as a receiver. He has good hands. And as a cornerback, I got to see his recovery and his coverage skills on these top receivers. So right now, if I just go off the top of my head, I think he makes a better receiver. He's not going to play both of the sides of the ball in the NFL.
No, he can't. I don't think there's ever been a player in history that's done that.
Once if he's successful at whichever one he goes to, he's going to get money. And once you get the money, them owners are not going to. One, they're not going to put you out there, because now you adding up snaps.
Right.
You're going to mess around. You remember when Deion Sanders was going through his contract negotiations?
Yeah.
Because they move on. He say, you're going to pay me as a running back and a receiver.
Yeah.
Now you potentially playing two of the highest paid positions on the team.
Right.
Dog. And you exposing yourself to a whole lot more.
Right. Well, receivers still get more money than your top rate corner still doesn't make as much as a top receiver does.
So the team's not going to let him do that. No, you're going to choose a side. We're going to put you some packages.
Yeah, and he doesn't do kickoff or punt returns either, right? So he's not going to be in that option.
Once he get to the league, you never know.
Exactly. They'll put anybody on special team.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys never did it in college. Get to the league. Yeah.
That's where you make your mark.
I want to switch gears a little bit to the NBA. So I know, Shawnee, you brought this up earlier. So I was actually on a website. I was on this website, covers.com, and they have a listing of injuries. The only team in the NBA right now that does not have a noted injury for this week is actually the Golden State Warriors. I know Curry, he was on there last week, but he was a healthy player. In fact, he actually won the game against Dallas with Travian on there. But yeah, I mean, we're bringing up this issue that what is going on with these NBA players with all these injuries at the beginning of the season, and some guys just stay hurt. You know, we all know about the guy from Brooklyn, always hurt. Lonzo Ball, always hurt. He's out. Lonzo Ball is out again. It seemed like these guys, once they get hurt, they just stay hurt. But do you think there is something to? I don't know if it's and Coach may get in because I know you work with training athletes. I don't know if it's just the grind of too much basketball. Is it the training attribute? Is it the diets? Because I'm still a little old school with this. I know everyone's on their green smoothies and working out with elastic bands and stuff like that. None of these guys are doing deadlifts. None of these guys are doing squats. None of these guys are doing the work to kind of stay strong. Shout out Dante, good to have you with us. So I don't know what's going on. Why all these injuries with these players? But what do you guys think is going on with all these injuries in the NBA? And these guys can't, and they're already getting load management. They're already getting less playing time overall in rotations and whatnot. So what do you think it is? Why aren't these guys able to stay healthy?
Well, real quick, I'm gonna just do mine quick so I can let Dante get majority of this one. Because I'm looking, because really, it's the names that are injured for weeks at a time. Like, for example, Kevin Durant, he's out at least 2 weeks. It was more. 35. It was for more big names.
Well, John Moran is out. Moran is out.
Yeah, Morant is out. Damian Lillard is out. C.J. McCollum is out, and I'm talking about
Davis is out.
And I'm about to mention Zion Williamson, but him and Ben Simmons.
he's always out. He's always out. Him
and Ben Simmons, man. Y'all.
I'll say it right now. I think Zion is the biggest bust in NBA history. I'll put that on there right now. The biggest bust ever. Because even a Ja Moran or whatever, I mean, yeah, they came out, but Zion was supposed to be the poster. They did everything they could to make him the poster child of the NBA, and he just hasn't worked out. You talk about Kwame Brown, all those guys. None. I've never seen so much hype coming out, and a guy this injured and out of shape, overweight, you name it, he's got it. I mean, what gives with this guy, man? I mean,
well, you got to. He has. I mean, I think he's been the most dominant player on this side of Shaq. He can't stay on the court, but his skills are there. He's hell on the court, but you talking about the best availability. This dude is never available. So,
but he's not even in shape. I mean,
well, I heard he lost like 20, 30 pounds or something this offseason.
It's yo-yo, but he's always losing. Like, he came into the league about 300, right? Then the first he got into the gym, he got down to about 280, 285 or whatever. Then he got hurt again or whatnot. So it's like he's yo-yo up and down with his weight. And I just don't think – I mean, if Charles Barkley came in at 300 pounds and he played – once he got in shape that first year or whatever, Moses Malone took him aside, got down to about 250, and he basically was able to stay there for the rest of his career. So if Charles Barkley is one of the most undisciplined athletes in the world, if he could lose that weight and keep it off, what is going on with Zion with all the protein shakes and smoothies and green teas and all that kind of stuff? He can't get down the weight. So I don't know. So Dante, what's going on with these players, man? Talk to me about this, man.
And it's frustrating because it goes into what you guys were talking about a few episodes ago about, is LeBron hurting the league by still being in the face? And the problem is, hey, you can't not have him as the face when you got Zion, who, let's be real about it, you move the moon and the stars for superstars. And when the play-in happened, the play-in was created. They wanted it already, but they knew the Pelicans were hovering around it when they went to
Right.
the bubble, and then they missed it. And then like all the rollouts and everything that was supposed to happen, even to the fact that the number 2 pick was ended up outshining Zion, but then he has injury concerns, smaller guy, and off the court stuff. So it's just like every single way the league is catching bad breaks, pun intended, with guys being hurt, and they're supposed to step up. And like you do have some that are staying healthy and fighting to try to play all the games. And now it needs to go into reconditioning in the minds. I want to say it's going to take. I know some NBA vets have said this. Have those old guys around from the 2010s, or those guys need to be around to teach these guys. Hey, you need to get to sound like Coach Bird. You need to get your ass out there and play. You need to get out there and play.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming out here and paying these money to come see you. Go ahead and come play. Do what you need to do in the off season to get your body right. We understand the branding and the commercials and all the other off the court interests, but keep the main thing, and they have to focus on being healthy. The league needs to focus on getting trainers that are getting their bodies ready to play and endure the season. Like you said, Coach Bennett, whether it's race training, whether it's Zion's of the world, nutrition, Joel Embiid, nutrition. Those guys that are ready, you got to get your body right. You got to get your mind right and ready to do this. Like everybody talks about the training all throughout the season. Everybody loves to talk about Kobe and the Mamba mentality. Well, how about you use it and implement what he's doing in the off season? Don't talk about it, because look at some guys that do it. Tatum is relatively a healthy guy. He's a guy that plays the games, and what is his team's record? He's consistently in the conference finals. So look at the guys that are doing it, and I think they need to be more examples. Like we're here now to where the Tatums of the world, the Jaylen Browns, follow those guys' example of what to get it done. You don't got to go listen to old man LeBron and old man KD. You got examples right now. Tatum's a champion. That means something. They got to listen to these guys and get through to them so that they're ready to play.
Right. So, Coach, I mean, is it the athletic trainers? Is it the diet? I mean, what is going? These teams are paying millions of dollars, and a lot of these players, they have their own personal trainers and coaches and whatnot, doing work with them outside and whatnot. But again, these guys can't stay healthy. I mean, so what do you think is going on with these athletes and why they can't stay on the court?
Man, let me tell you something. It's a mixture of a couple of things. One, it's hard to stay in shape when we at the strip club. What are you talking about? These guys are hanging out. And the guys that we talking about with the injuries, a lot of them are over 30. Once a player gets over 30, he could be injury prone. Zion, he has a clause in his contract that he has to be under 295 or something. He's 281. He was 285 at Duke. So he's only lost technically 4 pounds since college, right? He's lost 25 pounds over the last year, but these guys are hanging out, man. It's one thing to play ball. You get your rest after the game, but we traveling to LA this week, man, in South Beach, man. Shit, after the game, man, what we doing? We just won. We just got paid on Tuesday. I'm ready to turn up. Drink some Ciroc, and Brother Benny, you like the ladies, and Dante, y'all like the, we going out. So it's more about conditioning. And if I noticed that the guys that are married fared better with their health in the league. The single guys, they do a lot more. But again, basketball's a grueling sport on your lower body. Even the fact that it depends, but I think a lot of players discount weight lifting because they say it throws your shot off, which it does after you. I thought
that was debunked like 35, 40 years ago. When Jordan put all that weight on and whatnot, I thought that changed the game. Because we both grew up in that, right?
If I try to shoot basketball, I thought I bench press 285 pounds 20 times. Yeah, I can't shoot the ball at that time. But the next day, I'm pretty much back to normal. Again, it's going to just come down to, conditioning in the off season, resting your body, stop trying to hang out after the game at the strip club, and just get your rest, man. Treat your body right. because, and I think as far as the athletic shoes should change. And this is my last thing. Any of y'all remember, or Mr. Bennett, remember when you were younger and they came out with these rubber courts, the rubber basketball courts?
Yeah. It wasn't the hard. Yeah,
That
it wasn't
should
the
be a
hardwood.
part
Yeah.
of the NBA courts. It should be that hard because it was a normal bouncing ball on the court, didn't have any change in your play, but the court was made out of rubber.
Mhm.
And that was a little better on your knees and joints. So I think they should come out with that for the NBA.
Well, certainly, I would rather have those than remember when they got crazy. I think it was over the summer, those crazy colored courts, purple and
They back.
all
They
the-
back. They back. They back for this tournament.
So maybe
They back.
you know,
Like this shit is ugly as hell. But
yeah, they're going for the optics
So-
versus the
Well, they
the,
do
health
that
of the
for
players.
that in-season tournament.
in-season
where
tournament, they back. It's ugly.
Mm.
They got a camera.
Nah. Yeah, well, I'm still saying, look, these guys need to eat some cheeseburgers. I'm sorry, get some weight. You only need main list: deadlift, bench press, squat, pull up, all this other stuff. You getting doing squats on an exercise ball and the bands and whatnot. I'm like, man, let's put some iron on it and have a density. You can do all that stuff in the off season, but I mean, you got to have some density, man. Happens to football players. How many football players we seen went vegan and they're getting broken up? So I know Chad Ochocinco, I know he talks about that, his diet, his McDonald's diet or whatnot. Again, I may not go as far as he does, but I just got to think there's something in that food or whatever, those preservatives, whatever they put in there.
And flexibility. Flexibility plays a big role. One of the things I always preach to the players is do the stretching exercise correctly. And the more flexible a player is,
But they got people stretching them. They're not even stretching themselves. They got stretchers. They got massage therapists. They got every convenience that they can have in order to stay in shape, and they're still getting hurt. They're the most pampered athletes in the world.
I think you brought up earlier. It may be too much basketball. Like for example, okay, Embiid, he already on this restriction that the team is not letting him play back to backs. He started off the season hurt, and he's like, okay, you always hurt. I think you've been hurt every year since 2014.
Yeah.
Why the hell was you playing in the Olympics? And then you look at Kawhi. He's another player that always hurt. He tried to go play in the Olympics. They say, nah, man.
Well, he needs to be done. He's like bone. Is he like bone on bone right now with his knee? Whatever. Like it's
why go 50 games a year? That's it. The max.
You remember Yao Ming? He played a lot of basketball because he was going back and forth between China in the off season and stuff and playing in their professional league, and his body wore down early.
So the other guy you got to look out for that is Luka. Luka loves to play for Slovenia, and it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword. And I remember Cuban, the way Cuban used to he had to walk the tightrope because he knows that his biggest star was international, and now it is again with Luka. But it's kind of like, I know you love playing with your country, but is your country paying you $100 million? And it's kind of like he's been on record of saying that, and so I think it's bad luck. Some of it is injuries are going to happen. It'd be great if they happen. I know the league is thinking after the in-season tournament and get guys back around Christmas Day when the NFL is going down, and then you can kind of get more attention. But now, Coach Berg, I'm not with you with stay out of the strip club because you know who stayed in the strip club? James Harden. Oh, hey man, these guys, maybe it's like
in Houston, we know that well.
And he hasn't won a thing. He hasn't won a thing. That's a horrible example.
I need you to at least play on the court. My thing is everybody's not going to win the championship. I need a good, interesting regular season, and I need you to get the accolades that you want. Now, you have to play the minimum games. But my thing is, say what you want about him. He was durable. For whatever reason. Now, the playoffs is another story, but he was durable. I'm just talking about durability. This man was, Allen Iverson, this man was getting wings, hanging out 4 a.m.
Yeah. What's that spot in Atlanta that everybody goes to?
Magic City.
That's like that's like the main stuff. Oh man!
In Houston, I think he was his Harlem Nights and stuff like that, but it's popular. And he was
in his days. I think it was Dreams. And I want to say a couple of my friends ran Dreams.
He was there all the time.
Wow. Wow.
But I also think I'm just thinking about this now because athletes are they're so more athletic than, and you see them the way they move. They move a whole lot. Hell, I'm watching the OKC and New Orleans game, and just that constant change in the direction, speed up. That's just gonna play on your joints, and
Yeah.
because they can move so much like that, injuries is just gonna happen. It's just you're putting
Right.
a lot of
Yeah,
stress
I
on
mean
your
it's
joints.
definitely it's almost like you get this big engine in a car, but if you don't the racks and pinions and whatnot, they can't handle they can't handle the road, and that's what you get. All those cartilage ligament injuries is what's there, but you got these bigger muscles, more powerful engines, and more explosive. So that could be part of it also. But yeah, I mean, so it's definitely. But at the end of the day, it certainly I think it hurts the product. So yeah, I think the NBA needs to do something about making it safer for these guys or allowing them to stay on the court because people pay good money to see them.
But,
Well,
but what could also help it is that from the difference from players of 25, 30 years ago and today, players played their position. You didn't see 6'9", 6'8" out on the perimeter that much.
Mhm.
You saw them down low. So, I'm big enough. I can take the pounding. I wasn't out here trying to do a fadeaway jump shot and do a lot of dribbling. So it's just a changing of the game because players are throwing up twisted shots. You've seen it, but not as often. 6'7", 6'8", trying to do 360
thank
spins,
Don Nelson for that.
doing all this.
Yeah.
So it's gonna wear and tear. 82
Yeah.
games is a long season.
But it's been 82 games since 81,
Yeah,
80.
but again,
So it's
they built different today. They built different.
that is true. That is true. You only had a few specimens back in the day, but now everyone's tries to be one. But moving on, we got a couple more segments in the show. Let's move back to the NFL. And so I just wanted to highlight we got three things. Well, again, and still undefeated. So Denver had that game in the bag, and they got Kansas City got the block punt. So again, just like I said, like Ric Flair, they win ugly. They win pulling the tights, foot on the rope or whatever. They get out of all the things just get out of the stadium with the dub. They did it again, but this week they have the Bills. And so, so that's the one ranked 1 and 2 teams in the AFC right now. And then you also have the other matchup. Obviously, this is Ravens week. So again, shout out to the Steelers for certainly a nice win against Washington. And again, Russell Wilson got him on the sneak tip on the fake the hut, pulled the rookie off sides to ice the game. But Washington, they're going to be certainly I think they play the Eagles in a couple weeks, so that's certainly going to be a must watch game. To see how those guys play. But you got Steelers and Ravens, Bills, Chiefs this week. Now, I would have said, and I was going to ask you guys about it. I mean, you also have the Cowboys and the Texans. Now, I think going into the season, I think there might have been a lot of buzz. That would have been certainly a budding rivalry since, obviously Houston's still very much, in the mix, and then Dallas just fell off. But certainly you wouldn't have known that based off the last couple seasons. So I think a lot of people were looking forward to that game. But having said that, what are your guys' takes on Steelers, Ravens, or Bills, Chiefs? Is this the week that we see the Chiefs take their first L, or do you see them again staying undefeated going into week 11? You want to take that on?
I don't know if the Bills have enough to knock off offensively, just because I know they went out and got Amari Cooper, and then he's dealing with the Amari Cooper problem where it's like, okay, he's got a hurt wrist, and it's getting ready to get colder, and it's not working out right now. I'm not saying I was in favor of the trade when they made it, but I don't know if they have enough playmakers because the Chiefs legitimately have a really good defense, and even if they've grown accustomed to winning ugly, so I don't think it's the week. I mean, it won't surprise me because it's like they've gone on winning so long, but it's just like I don't see it this week. I'm excited about that Steelers Ravens though. I'm excited to see what it is because I know the Steelers. I know y'all know how to win ugly. The Ravens have turned into like a high-powered offensive team, and the team that defensively is struggles. So
Right.
it could sneakily be a shootout in some ways. But and as far as like the Cowboys and Texans, it's a thing that basically the Texans got their first win, their very first season against the Cowboys on the Sunday night game, and
Mhm.
And it's like they don't play enough. But from living in the Metroplex and growing up here, and then living in Houston, there's a lot more hate on the Houston side for Dallas area teams than vice versa.
Right.
But at the time, this was supposed to be a time in which both teams were quality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cowboys did not hold up their end of the bargain.
For sure.
It's been so bad that I can be honest with you. I had to do my studying, and I knew what was going to happen when Cooper Rush was playing. I did my studying during the game, and so I knew what was going to happen. And then when a point where I thought it was 14-6, I was like, well, maybe I'll take a break. And then by the time I took the break, it was 28-6, and I was like, well, didn't miss anything. But it's a disappointment because you only play every 4 years. Well, now it's a little bit more because of the 17th game. It just sucks that when we played them last time, we were good. They were, rebounding. So hopefully, hopefully in the next couple of years, Stroud is still good. The Cowboys will be better, and that
Right.
rivalry will kind of be able to build a little bit.
Right. Right. Well, I still look. I'm old enough still to remember Love You Blue back in '78. So when Dallas and Houston played back then, Bum Phillips and those guys, I mean, that was pretty exciting. Again, like to your point, they didn't play often, but so there was certainly a buzz. And then you had, I think, Glanville and I think the Oilers back in the day, Jerry Glanville, I think it was, with Warren Moon and that offense and whatnot.
Yeah,
So they had
yeah,
some exciting
yeah.
teams as well. But it's
Run
like
and
they
shoot.
never, right, the run and shoot, and they never still got the love that Dallas did. But I thought that certainly in those eras they fielded certainly a competitive team that certainly would have I would think there'd be like a sort of like a pride thing, like a battle for Dallas kind of thing when these guys get together and play. So again, this year we may not see as much buzz around it, but we'll see. I mean, because Houston's been very inconsistent this year. I mean, the loss against the Jets, and then certainly, and they were up on the Lions, and then they lost. I mean, Lions. I mean, they're bad. They're a good team. I mean, but again, you got 5 interceptions by Detroit, and typically, you win those games. And for some reason, they couldn't pull it off. So they're up and down. So I don't know. So Sean, you might want to speak to this. Where do you think Houston is? I mean, why so much inconsistency? I know they got some injuries like everybody else does, but they've just been very inconsistent. Even within the game, they were hot first half, and then they just wet the bed the rest of the game. So what do you think is going on there? Why they can't, because they should be better than what they are.
Well, currently the Houstonians, they getting on the Bobby Slovic, the OC, because of the fallout in the second half. Yes, Houston right now. Only thing it annoys me about Houston fans, because this is like throughout all their professional sports teams, they stick their chest out when their team is doing well. But as soon as that team starts sliding, you talking about that city does a complete 180. And they will turn against the teams and everything. So people gotta remember, C.J. Stroud is only in his second year, and you took away receiver 1 and 2 from him. So he's gonna struggle. You took away his 2. First thing that you give a young quarterback and receivers, he lost both of them. Now Nico Collins may be back, and I guarantee you're gonna see a change in that offense when he comes back. They was a dynamic duo when he was playing, and then also when he went hurt, then of course, okay, let me start throwing the Diggs, and then we lost Diggs. Tank Dell, he's smaller, so he's just known to stretch the field, but he's not a receiver 1. He can kind of get bullets at times, but yeah, they still a good team. They got a good enough defense. They fly to the ball real good. Yeah, okay, the game against the Lions, I mean, what I don't like what people do, they point out one play in football like that was the reason they lost the game. And yes, if you were watching the game, Stroud missed a wide open Tank Dell. I don't know what the hell he was doing. And they tried to float it, and that's what allowed, who was that, Branch?
Right.
No, Davis.
Okay.
Davis, who intercepted. He just came over there because he floated it. But that was like midway in the third. And then the Texans intercepted Goff the very next possession. So it's like they had their chances, but I still think they're a good team. Like I say, he lost number 1, number 2. He's going to get number 1 back. You're going to see a change and stuff with the offense. Now you can go. It's kind of going to go right back to how they was last year, but now they got a running back. Mixon is the truth back there. He just right now they just the receivers. Basically, what you saw, and I was talking about this on the people on the internet. What you saw Detroit do in that game, the Texans was doing a hell of a job on Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Right.
But he's an elite receiver. Jared Goff was struggling, throwing 5 picks and whatnot. Some may not even be his fault. But what you expect your top receiver, especially if your team is still in the game, you saw the playmaker in St. Brown. And you saw Goff go to him. Matter of fact, St. Brown scored the winning touchdown versus them and made the big catch in the last possession. Stroud does not have that. His receivers kind of get lost in the shuffle. That's when Nico Collins or Stephon Diggs would have been that playmaker receiver that would have enabled Stroud to buy. He don't have that. So you saw that with the Lions, and that's why I personally think the Lions are the best team in the NFL right now. I know they got that one loss and KC is undefeated. But, KC, I mentioned this earlier. Now, that's the most fortunate team I've seen on this side since New England Patriots. They get all the luck. You asking, we was talking about the Bills and how they – I guarantee you it's going to be some play. Josh Allen may play – it's a good chance he may outplay Patrick Mahomes. But his field goal kicker may miss a game-winning field goal. It's just something will happen.
By the way.
Yeah, so
the Broncos ate up the whole clock. Massively ate up the clock, drive down the field, and you get blocked. I'm with you, son. There's no more denying it. And the only thing I hate about it is I know people, since they winning so much, they've reached the point where everybody hates them now. And it's just the standpoint of, the refs. And it's just like, man, you can pull up the refs for any team that's winning every week. Right. And it's just kind of like, hey, man, you just got to give them credit. Sometimes they're more lucky you could, but you just got to take it. And I think it's, can your team beat theirs? That's all it's down to for me.
And right now, the answer is no.
Right. Yes. Right. So you guys, so you guys are picking. So Shawnee, Dante. So you're still picking KC to beat the Bills this coming week.
Yeah.
Coach, weigh in on that. So again, the Bills, Chiefs. You also got Steelers, Ravens. Who you like and who you picking? Though in these games this weekend.
Although I like the Steelers, I'm not surprised of their record because again, Mike Tomlin, Coach of the Year, I would give that my vote right now. But I'm a Lamar Jackson fan also, so I think Baltimore by 3, just because I've seen them sort of gel it to get it together within the last couple of weeks. It's going to be a good game, though. It's not going to be a blowout, I don't think. I think the defense, whoever makes the least mistakes, will probably win that game.
Right.
As far as the Chiefs, they get a lot of help. Let's be honest. They get a lot of help, You got Andy Reid, the fan favorite. You got Taylor Swift coming to the games, bringing millions of dollars every week into the game. But also with Kansas City, we haven't seen their best football yet. That's the scary part about them. They bought D-Hop in. He's going to give them an extra weapon. Patrick Mahomes probably reads defenses better than anybody in the league. So, I think that they're going to put together a complete game. Buffalo, they cannot try to copy Kansas City's play. Do what you do best. Do not try to keep – if Kansas City scores early, don't be coming out trying to throw the ball 60 times. Mix it up. Keep cooking the game. Let Allen, don't try to do too much. As far as the winner right now, I'm going to give it to Kansas City just because, I'm looking for them to play their best game, but 6 points, Kansas City. Where are they playing at?
Kansas City. They are playing in. Let me get it. Well, they were just at home against the Broncos. I think that game may be in Buffalo. Let me get it in a
I'm
second.
looking up now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, man. But yeah, I think Kansas City by
Yeah, at
6.
Buffalo. At Buffalo.
By
At
6,
Buffalo, yeah.
you know.
Well, look, if any one team, again, they're the second-ranked team in the AFC, and obviously, so it's going to be up to them. Also, people say the Chargers, they're playing a lot better, so they can be, certainly a competitive game coming up. I'll keep rolling with the Chiefs because what I've seen up to this point, Allen, he'll find a way to lose it. So I just think that, Casey, they're battle tested. They get you to play and do things that you don't uncharacteristically do because, again, there's so much you just got to beat them. So I think that's going to be the edge. But, again, as far as Steelers, Ravens, look, we won the last 7 out of 8 against the Ravens. Lamar's 2-4 against us. They have no defense this year. Our defense is still ranked top 10. And, again, we're letting Russ cook. You see what he's doing. You see the touch that he has. We get the guy from Williams from the Jets who Aaron Rodgers ran under the bus. Well, he really ran everybody out of New York. Ran him under the bus. He comes in, his only play of the game, lobs that nice 32-yard touchdown in the corner. So, again, as long as we let Russ cook, hey, I like our chances. I think it will be a bit high scoring because, our games will be like 9-6, 13-10, 16-13 type of games. I think both teams will put over 25 points on the board, but I think, certainly we'll come out on top with that. But I like where this offense is going. I think just Russ, he just gets so many everyone, gets a piece of the apple, and he just makes everybody around him better. And I think he certainly won over his team with his attitude. A lot of people call him corny and all that kind of stuff, but it seemed like the Steelers, they definitely bought in. And no disrespect to Fields, but again, he just can't throw these balls that he puts up there. They call them the moon balls or whatever. He just puts it and he just lets these guys make plays. And he's got some playmakers on. He's making George Pickens look like the best receiver in the league. I know you were talking about Amon St. Brown, but I mean Pickens the last few weeks since Russ has been in there, he's made a spectacular play every week since he's been the starter at the QB. He almost got another touchdown if he did the two taps with the 2 taps with the right. If he would have got the right left, he would have had another one. But he's just making plays every week. So I expect that to continue. But I wanted to give a shout out to Black Man. Yes, his Saints did upset the Atlanta Falcons. We didn't see that coming. So yeah, I'm sure he's buoyed by that victory. So I just want to say shout out to BMU for that victory as well. But Dante, did I get your pick? Steelers, Ravens?
I'm going with Lamar. I'm going with Lamar on that one. I'm going to go with the Ravens. I know it's just because of the firepower they have, and I don't know if you're going to be able to bottle up Derrick Henry like that again.
I hear you. So Black Man, his faith has been restored. So again, Saints are going to the Super Bowl. so he's a loyal fan to the end. But we're going to wrap up the show. We got one more topic to talk. Yeah. What's that?
That's tomorrow. Eagles and Commanders can play tomorrow. I did not realize it came up there.
Oh, it is tomorrow. Oh, it's a Thursday night game. Okay. All right. So who we got then? I know again we're just coming up. Again, they're tough. I mean, they defensively they have some issues and whatnot, but that's going to be who you like in that one?
Philly at home. I think Philly at home. I think they probably pulled that one off just because I think they got more than the Commanders, and they've been holding teams to like 50 net passing yards. And I know obviously it wasn't much against the Cowboys. It wasn't much, but I think overall they're going to make it tough. They're going to make it tough for the Commanders. I think they pulled that one out for a close one.
I hear you. All right, we're going to wrap up the show on one note. So for Shawnee and Dante, obviously there's an event that's going on in Dallas in the stadium this weekend. Unfortunately, Mike Tyson, at 58 years old, will be fighting Jake Paul on Netflix. I don't know if I'm watching it, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of these exhibition things. They're fighting with like 16, 20-ounce gloves or whatever, and this isn't necessarily a sanctioned boxing match. I don't think it's necessarily going to count on Tyson's record nor Jake Paul's for that matter. But I don't know. I mean, anybody can look good on mitts just like I can look good on a speed bag. I have a speed bag in my basement and I can rip on it pretty good. But I'm 55 years old, bro. And so Coach, I'm sure he could do his thing as well. But again, I just think that it may not even come down to like someone getting hurt from a punch. I mean, Tyson can go in there and he can pull a hammy or something like that. You just don't know what's going to happen. The fight has already been delayed once already because of injuries. So again, is this getting a lot of buzz in the DFW area? Did they sell it out? I mean, what's the buzz there? It's going to be in that big stadium. I don't think they're going to put 100,000 in there, but what's the buzz been like, or any of you guys going? How about that? But I asked you guys that.
My thing is, I'm not going, and my thing is, I'm a novice in boxing. I'm a casual, and I feel like I'm disrespecting the sport.
It doesn't get any more casual than this.
I go and support this, so it's like I can go and support like a real fight. But this, I just don't want to see Mike get embarrassed. You don't want to see heroes from your youth get embarrassed. And I hate all that. I mean, not hate is a strong word, but I really dislike what he's about and the gimmick.
Yeah.
So I would love for someone to knock him out, but he picks his fight so carefully. I hope he does it. I'm scared. I'm scared for Mike, just from the fact that you are an old man. Like you have to stop this fight for an ulcer, not an eye injury, not you hurt something, but an ulcer. That sounds like what an old man would do.
Right.
And the fight. It's just like, golly, man. I know they're getting a bad.
Mr. Bennett, I think you may. I think some of the people in DFW will not maybe sharing your same thoughts about the fight in general, because I'm reading a thing now saying the Paul and Tyson tickets continue to fall and then scramble to fill seats.
What's those? Yeah. So what's the ticket? What's the ticket price? What are they selling for?
Talked about in the group chat. I think they seen some nosebleeds for might have been like $67. It wasn't
for nosebleeds in that stadium still.
Currently, the lowest ticket is $67. That is down from $91 just last week.
Check Groupon, see if they got a little 50% off deal. Groupon or something.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so Mike, again, you were my hero. Again, I'm a little too young for Ali. I know by the time I recognized him, he was already kind of past his prime, and my dad and brother for sure. But Tyson was my first sports hero, and certainly so I got a lot of love for him, and certainly wouldn't want him to be hurt from this. So that's why I'm torn. Like, do I want to watch it? Do I want to watch it or not? From what I understand, it's not pay-per-view. From what I understand, right? I think it's Netflix. But it's not but they're not charging a pay-per-view premium for it, I think, right? Or
if you got the subscription, you can watch it.
Yeah. So I may flip over there, man. But again, I hope it's just a glorified sparring session. Nobody gets hurt, and everybody just kind of goes their own way or whatever. Like I said, they're using the bigger gloves. They're not using the 10-ounce knockout gloves. They're using like 14-ounce gloves or something like that. And so, which you can still get hurt from, but I just can't see this being these guys just going all out to try to hurt each other. But in any event, Coach, any last thoughts on this? Again, we basically Tyson's age, man. So I wouldn't even want to fight Shawnee and Dante. Y'all may get us. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying.
I wouldn't even want to spar nobody.
That's what I'm saying.
Bag.
We passed the point. Yeah, we don't take punches well.
Real quick. I just done checked on Ticketmaster for the tickets. They got it in the comedy section.
Comedy.
That's wild.
Oh man,
they put that thing in the comedy category. Man. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, so raw.
I think most people believe that Paul is going to win. However, Tyson, he has the ability to still knock you out.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be at Paul's advantage to run most of the fight and get his jabs in. I wouldn't try to go toe-to-toe with Mike because a body shot could break your ribs, a headshot. But, Mike Tyson, again, at the age he's at, he's one hit away from having a seizure in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
At 55, you get hit in the head, man. You see stars, you hear bells, you see birds, you see fucking ancestors, man. It ain't the same hit. So y'all better enjoy y'all youth. It's not the same feeling, man, getting hit. If you shit, just tap your finger on your head, it hurts. So yeah.
And mind you, Tyson, even in his prime, if you get past round 4, you had a shot. Because again, his idea is you wanted to take you out in the first 3. So Paul, if he can get to round 5 or whatever, Tyson may be just out of gas. Period. He might not even get off the stool. So you just don't know. But again, hopefully he can stay and just come out healthy, hug and all that stuff at the end and whatnot, and ride off into the sunset. But we're at the end, guys. Again, ran over a little bit, but again, thank you guys for joining us once again here on the BNU Network, and certainly looking forward to the game. Certainly tomorrow. I mean, certainly Commanders and Eagles. It's going to be a great game. And again, the weekend affairs with as teams get into their conference matchups. So definitely looking forward to that. And we'll be keeping an eye again on the college playoff scene. Who's going to get upset this week? We don't know, but it's like a regular occurrence. Somebody's going to lose, and so at the top. But we're looking forward to that. But again, thank you for joining us. For myself, Brother Shawnee, Dante, Coach Ferg, as always, stay safe, take care, God bless. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
All right, guys, another one in the books. Another great episode on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Listen, we're doing the thing over here. So, guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Also, if you want to donate to the channel, which helps the channel, hit your boy Cash App. It's scrolling right here, right there, at the bottom of the screen. And support the channel. But we're happy that you're here, and we look forward to seeing you on every episode. So hit the notification button so you know when we go live. Thank you again, guys, for watching. We out.